Thank you so much, Robotics Club, for your presentation. For the next session, we have among us Dr. Sunil Kumar Kota sir, who is a consultant endocrinologist at Diabetes and Endocare Clinic, Berhampur. He completed MBBS from SCB Medical College, Cuttack. In 2002, MD General Medicine from MKCG Medical College, Berhampur in 2008, and DNB from Medwin Hospital, Hyderabad in 2013. His 90 publications are conference abstracts, 22 book chapters. He got ESI award for most number of publication in IJEM 2012. He also got the trophy for best letter to editor for paper entitled Endocrine Disorders in Tuberous Sclerosis at ESICON 2013. He has been selected as one among the 25 candidates across globe to participate in ISPAD Research School held at Boston, USA in April 2004. He also has been selected as Dr. V.D. Nadgowda Oration at RSSDI 2014, Bangalore. He has...
Hello. He has been awarded as the best reviewer for IGEM at ISKCON 2018 Bhubaneswar. He was a young researcher award. He got a young researcher award at RSSDI 2018 Ahmedabad.
He also got Scope Scholarship by World Obesity Congress, Mexico in September 2019. He has been awarded with RSSDI 2020 for Best Innovation in Diabetes Care during challenging times of COVID-19. His research works are based on leal interposition with sleep gastrectomy or diverted sleep gastrectomy for treatment of T2DM are just as the best poster at AACE 2012, Philadelphia, USA. He is also a member of American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists, Indian Society for Pediatric and Adolescent Endocrinology, Endocrine Society of India, Endo Society USA, International Society for Pediatric and Adolescent Diabetes, American Thyroid Association, and Indian Thyroid Society. So now I would like to invite sir upon the stage. So please.
So, good afternoon, guys. So, I can see a whole lot of bubbling brains in front of me. And I just came to understand from your Trilochan sir that you were supposed to go to the playground. But somehow I came in between. But don't worry, I'm going to make it funny for all of you. And see, there is a... To start with, I think some of you might have come across this funny quote which says, a falsified fact is called doctored. He has doctored the information. He has tried to falsify. And an accomplished act is called engineered. Nogi? So I wish all of you scale unprecedented heights. And we will briefly talk about some of the common conditions. In fact, I have chosen the topic of diabetes today because the month of November happens to be the Diabetes Awareness Month. And I think most of you are aware of this term diabetes. Are we not? Are you not? So can we have a hands up who all at least have heard of this particular condition? So I think all of you. And you might be having a thought in your back of your mind that why should I be telling about this particular condition to you? So 2 points to start with. Next name. Yes, huh. Agutte Purguru just. Stay there. So, in India, the prevalence of all lifestyle related disorders, not only diabetes, you have obesity, you have hypertension, you have diabetes, all those getting diagnosed at an age which is decade earlier than the Western counterparts. And generally, obesity is the main cause of all these lifestyle disorders. We all know that. But compared to Westerners, we tend to develop all these conditions even if we are having normal body weight. And there is one reason attributed to that. if you come across a Westerner and if he is obese, you would be seeing that his entire body is uniformly obese. ता हाथ भी मोटा थिबो, पेट भी मोटा थिबो, गोड़ भी मोटा थिबो. But if you see Indians, we have a tendency of developing central adiposity. नहीं कि पेटटा बढ़ी जाए. And it is seen scientifically that even if you have similar weight as that of your Western counterpart, our body contains more of body fat than our Western counterparts. There are different theories. If you want, you can Google out later on. There is something called Barker hypothesis. There is something called Y&Y hypothesis. So this month is celebrated as Diabetes Awareness Month. So this may be a message to all of you as to how should you be going forward as far as your lifestyle is concerned, because most of our parents would have one of these conditions, diabetes. And in fact, let me tell you, I see a lot of young people coming to me with onset of diabetes as well. In fact, the next one please. Yes. So when you see this picture in the middle, what comes to your mind? Big smile? Huh? India. Very good. Anything else? Unity and diversity. Absolutely. So we were taught during our childhood Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. No ki? Hope all of you are comfortable with Odia as well. In between I will try to use it. Samasta sir Odi sir na bahar question. Okay, no, then I will be sticking to English, doesn't matter. So, this picture used to tell us that irrespective of caste, creed, age, gender, we all are brothers and sisters. That's what was being taught to us. But then, after being a doctor and coming across so many people suffering from these conditions, my mind gets diverted to the thought that people, irrespective of the caste, creed, age and sex, get affected by these lifestyle disorders. Next, please. Next. So I am going to tell you about diabetes. So you all must be aware what is diabetes. So generally there is a normal blood sugar in our body which helps to give energy to our different working cells in the body. But if the sugar is in excess amount, that is called as diabetes. And here in this image you can see there is a hormone in the blue shirt which is known as insulin. What it does, symbolically you can see it takes glucose from the blood, that is depicted by the red color packet, and it is taking it to inside of the cell. Inside of the cell. So that the cell is able to use that glucose for energy production. And the diabetes happens when, next please. It is produced by an organ called pancreas. I think some of you might have come across this word pancreas, which is situated in the left upper half of abdomen. And if the pancreas is lazy and it is not producing enough amount of hormone, the glucose, instead of going into the cell, it will remain inside the blood and the blood glucose level goes up. Secondly, next is, here what you can see is there is the blue colored shirt, blue colored hormone is there. But apart from that, there is another person who is in the violet shirt. He is trying to block the insulin to discharge its duty. So this is called insulin resistance, wherein your body will be having the insulin, but it will not be able to discharge its duty. So again, the glucose stays inside the blood. It doesn't go into the cell. So it is very much akin to a situation where you go to middle of a sea. You feel thirsty, but then you are not able to drink because it has got a lot of salt. Similarly, the cell is surrounded by a sea of glucose, but because of lack of insulin, it is not able to take the glucose into the cell. So the cells shrink. And most of you might be aware of the fact that one of the common symptom of diabetes is weight loss also. We have abundant energy in our body, but we are not able to utilize it. Next, please. The insulin resistance. See, pancreas, if it is not functioning due to some infection or some injury or due to any stress, that's understood. But then why this insulin resistance is important? It occurs when you have obesity. obesity, physical inactivity. Patala thile madhya jodi gotiye jagare bahut samay boschandi, then also the insulin doesn't help much. Thirdly, in ladies, pregnancy is a state, and some of you might be aware of the term called polycystic ovarian syndrome. That again is a state of insulin resistance. And lastly, you all know the answer, I will just snatch it from you. Just from 2020, what are we dealing with? COVID. So infection, not only COVID, any infection would give rise to a state of stress which will aggravate the insulin resistance. So why should you be aware of? Gote kotha to kahili ki je we Indians tend to get affected by all these lifestyle disorders at least a decade earlier, even if we have normal body weight. And diabetes not only is restricted to elevated blood sugar, it is also associated with number of other complications, like the BP goes up, the cholesterol level go up, and there are a number of complications starting from your eyes, kidney, nerves, heart, blood vessel and whatnot. That's why we should be aware of. Next please. I understand it would not be a very common question to you, but anyone can answer this. If some of you have come across some of relative having diabetes, what are the symptoms of diabetes? Anyone wants to answer? Anyone? Yeah, very good.
Good afternoon, sir. So I'm Swati from CSC branch. From my house, many people are suffering from diabetes. And I had noticed it that they become thin and like aging comes very quickly to them, like their body cells like wrinkle type they happen.
Anything else? Anyone wants to help your friend?
Thank you.
Thanks for standing and answer. Yes. Oh, we have a number of those. Movie pachote bastuli. Thankfully so.
Hello sir, my name is Smriti Pmec. I am from civil branch. In diabetes, the body get lost their weight and continuous.
You can go on speaking while walking. Doesn't matter. Yes.
Continuous urine happen and
Excessive urination. Yes.
excess urination and
Comfortable. I'm not here to score you. Yes.
excess amount of sweat has comes.
Excess urination. Anyone wants to add to that? Okay, I think you all are done. Can we have the next slide, please? So these all are the symptoms. Yes. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Vikas Janna from Computer Science. One of the symptoms I remember is when we get any cut or something, then healing will be very slow.
Very delayed. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
So thanks to all of you, my job is easy. If one of you comes to my class and asks any of your question, I will not be able to answer your question, but thankfully you are able to answer me. So the symptoms are 3P: polyuria, polydipsia, polyphagia. Polyuria means excess urination. Because there is excess urination, the body will be deprived of water and you will feel thirsty. That is called polydipsia. And polyphagia means you will be having excess hunger. So here is a catch. You have excess glucose in the body, but that glucose is not going into your cell, so your body starts to feel hungry. And since the glucose is not going inside, you again tend to lose body weight. And he has given a very brilliant answer. Whatever wound you have that doesn't get healed properly, apart from that, there is tingling and numbness in the body, there is visual blurring, unusual weakness, lethargy that sets in, and there are fungal infection on the skin and genital tracts of the both male and female. Next, please. Then we will come to a guessing game. What would be the most common symptom of diabetes according to you? Any guess? Yes. Vision problem. So anyone wants to differ or to be in agreement with? Yes, that's very important because there is excess glucose in the body that gets excreted through the urine. So ants get attracted to the urine. Yes. Okay, then? The most common symptom, yes. You can shout out, no issue. Loss of weight, okay. I thought loss of hair, but I do not have diabetes. Okay. Yes. Hunger. No, I am not talking about the number of symptoms. I am asking you about the most common symptom. And please please listen to it attentively. The most common symptom of diabetes is presence of no symptom at all. Generally what happens is whatever symptoms we have discussed just now, that occurs only when the blood sugars are very high and are high for a prolonged period of time. But if the sugar is high for a short period of time, then most of the times people do not have any symptoms. They get detected because they go to the doctor with some other reason. Sir, moro surgery hawara chhe ki mo ghat sukhu nahi. So these are the case situations where most of the times the patient is detected in an asymptomatic phase. So the last question is, who should be screened? Because diseases are picked up only when you have symptoms. So here is a catch. All the global societies and the Indian societies, they unanimously ask people to go for blood sugar testing, blood pressure testing, blood cholesterol testing, even if you do not have any symptoms after the age of 40, not 4. So beyond age 40, even if you do not have any symptoms, you should be ideally subjecting yourself to 3 tests: sugar, cholesterol and blood pressure. So what is that age cutoff? Bit more louder. And there is a reason why I am telling you to shout it out, because you are the cream of the society and this message has to be percolated down to the society as well. After 40. Again, there is one more starry point or a reference point, whatever you can say. If you have additional risk factors like obesity, physical inactivity, family history of diabetes, if you have blood pressure or cholesterol problem, and for ladies there are 2 more issues: who have polycystic ovarian syndrome, wherein there is a menstrual irregularity and excess hair growth in a female, and ladies who give birth to babies having birth weight more than 4 kg. In these cases, the societies ask us to go for blood sugar testing probably from the age of 35 only. So 40 and 35, 40 without risk factors, 35 with risk factors, because you can Google it out in the net also. Next please. So these are slow poisons: sugar, blood pressure and cholesterol. Sugar, I have already told you, it has to be very high for a prolonged period of time for it to give rise to symptoms. Similarly, what is the normal blood pressure? 120/80. We have seen people who come to us for the first time with a blood pressure of 230/140 as well. Can you imagine that? Without any symptoms. So generally what happens is that symptoms of blood pressure is head drilling, vomiting sensation, weakness, headache. But again, whenever the blood pressure goes from a very low value to high value suddenly, like from 120 to 160, then only you get all these typical symptoms of blood pressure. But when the blood pressure goes up slowly and gradually, then our body gets adjusted to the next higher level and we do not get any symptoms. Similarly, cholesterol. Normal total cholesterol is around 150, 100 or 200. But I have seen people having cholesterol up to 5,000 also. Where when you draw the blood from the vein, it comes out as a milky white liquid. Milky, I do not have that picture, otherwise I would have shown it to you. Milky white liquid. And in them there is also no symptom. But all of a sudden, if that high amount of cholesterol blocks one of your arteries, like if it blocks your heart, heart attack. If it blocks your pancreas, pancreatic infarction. Legs can also get affected, and similarly brain also. So therefore these 3 have to be screened even if you do not have any symptoms after 45. If you have any risk factor, after 35, 40 and 35, sorry. Next please. So diagnosis part I am not going, next please. But still, just for completion's sake, fasting sugar more than 126, then we give 75 grams of glucose 2 hours after that again we go for sugar, if it is that is more than 200, or there is one more parameter which is known as HbA1c, which is a marker of your blood sugar control over last 3 months. If that goes above 6.5, that again is a state of diabetes. Next please. So these are the complications for which we are afraid of: eyes, nerves, kidney, heart, blood vessels, almost all. And amputation is a very peculiar kind of complication of diabetes. Amputation mane kono goda kota haba no ki 2.5 to 3 years back or 4 years back, world over, the major cause of limb amputation, limb mane kono hato goda juda was accident. But nowadays diabetes has taken over as the first place, because if you have diabetes and if you have a ulcer in underneath of your soul, and here you do not perceive, lot many times people do not perceive that there has been a big wound on their heels, and on top of that, if there is a spread of infection, if there is involvement of nerves and blood vessels, sometimes we may have to sacrifice the limb to prevent the spread of that complication. Next please. So these are the 4 steps: diet, exercise, medicine and testing. But I am going to restrict myself to diet and exercise, which is also useful to people who want to prevent the onset of diabetes, especially if you have some or other risk factors of diabetes. Next please. So these are the targets again, something theoretical for the ones who have diabetes. This much should be the fasting, this much should be the after food, and the A1C should be less than 7%. Next please. Cholesterol, next, just one. There are a number of parameters. If you see, sometimes come across the lipid profile, there are a number of lipid parameters. If it is less than 100, the LDL is the most dangerous part of the cholesterol. It has to be less than 100. Next please. Pregnancy. Diabetes in pregnancy is very important, because we come across pregnant ladies either in our family or in our friendship circle. It is very important to understand that 25% of the ladies in Asian subcontinent do get affected by diabetes during pregnancy. 25. 1 in 4. Therefore, the message has to be loud and clear that 1 in every 4 pregnant lady gets diabetes. Therefore, the government of India has also mandated each and every pregnant lady at the time of confirmation of pregnancy should be subjecting themselves to blood sugar and thyroid testing. If it is abnormal, it has to be treated. If it is normal, there are 2 peaks of diabetes during pregnancy, first at the time of pregnancy and another at the 24 weeks. So again, at the end of 24 weeks, if the first report is normal, you have to get that done. So a subtle message, if you can remember and pass it on to your friends and relatives, that would be really good. Next please. Because here there are 2 lives, those are important. That of the mother and that of the child. And this month only, there was a awareness program on NDTV. I was one of the panelists, and one of the questions from the audience was that the birth weight, if the birth weight is less than 2.5 kg newborn, or birth weight of the newborn is more than 4 kg, in either of the cases, the child is more prone to develop diabetes. So there is a surprising twist in the tale as well, where a baby, if the baby is born with a very low birth weight below 2.5 kg, that again is a risk factor. And if the mother's sugar is not well controlled throughout the pregnancy, the child on the long run would have higher chances of diabetes at a young age. Next please. So this is the target of blood pressure. Funny slide you all must have seen, wherein previous years the TVs used to be fat and we used to be slim, and nowadays the TVs are slim like anything and we have become fat. Next please. Triceps samaste janchanda nahi. Uparata bicep, tolta triceps. But what is this? Again a funny meme says friceps. So if you go on binging upon more of these oily stuff, you are going to have these friceps. Next please. So stay there. Dietary modification. So by default we understand that the diet has to be curtailed. So would you all be willing to listen to a form of exercise which will help you restricting your diet intake. Would you be willing? No. Biryani thile bhi kahbo to samnare. Acha, oh. They are good boys and girls. So next please. So this is what? If somebody offers you food, turn your head to left, turn your head to right. Turn your head to left, turn your head to... So politely say no to someone who is offering you food, and if you do, and you are not hungry. Ebe mate sir bhi jachutile movie mana kar de aschi. Sir khara bhabundu bache mu au overload karibi nahi. Next please. So this one, stay there, the before one. So there is no place for sweet, sugar or honey. Loke bhaban je natural sugar hochi, honey, jaggery, that can be taken, but simply remember, whichever food is tasting sweet to your tongue, they are definitely detrimental to you on a long run. So do not take. Next please. Tea or coffee, it has to be preferably without sugar, but if someone has that sweet tooth, next please. So we all are aware of these artificial sweeteners. There is one sentence that I am going to add over here. These are available in form of tablets and powder also. But try to take the tablet form wherein daily you can consume 3 to 4 tablets. These are non-calorie sweeteners or very less calorie sweeteners. But if you use powder, you cannot quantify the amount of that particular item which is being added to your food. So always it is better to have it in the tablet form. And in the market you would see bina sugar wala mitha asuchi. Please do not believe that. Next please. Breakfast. So all the items are well accepted, but then the predominant concept is that excess sugar, excess salt and excess oil. Excess sugar, salt and oil, they have to be avoided. This is not a menu plate. This is just to tell you that these all are the items which we consume. So I think you all are into your personal discussion. Kota order kariyagi. Okay, next please. So fruit juice, probably not for you, but then it is a standard recommendation to avoid fruit for everyone actually. The answer is, generally a person with diabetes should be taking 1 fruit a day. Person without diabetes should be taking 2 or 3 at max if he is avoiding some other food. But if someone consumes fruit juice, now you have to tell me how many fruits would be required to fill 1 glass of fruit juice. Kitna darkar padiyo? Huh? 5, 6. Ye bada glass piyo jandi hai. No, he is right. So at least 4, 5, 6, those are the fruits. So you are consuming 4 to 5 fruits at one go. Secondly, to make it tastier, he would be adding extra. Yes. And what they do, for you to easily gulp that fruit juice, they take out the fiber. Nahi? So fiber ta je to chhani nahi aandi. At the end, 1 glass fruit juice gets equivalent to around 6 to 7 fruits a day. On the contrary, you require only 2 or 3 max. So therefore, fruit juice is a big no. But for diabetics, big no. But for you people, it's okay as far as you take it in a limited way. Cold drinks. कौन सब मना करछन्ती कौन आसी खाली सर नेक्स्ट थर आसी जो माने फीडबैक थिले ए लोग आ डाकंतनी बोली अच्छा so as far as possible these cold drinks are also to be avoided because they contain excess sugar, they have high calorific value, and one more scientific reason is हमको पेटो को भूख को लगे, there are 3 signals. First of all, there is visual signal which is neural. माने sometimes what happens is even if you are not hungry, there is good food in front of you, tend to feel hungry. Secondly, whenever the blood sugar goes down, definitely you will feel hungry, and that is the actual sensation. Third is the stomach signal. If the stomach is not full, it will again send out a signal ki mo bhari nahi, mote auri khayago diyo. So when you take these sugary drinks, you take so many calories, the blood sugar goes up, but because it is a liquid, it does not stay inside the stomach, it trickles down the intestine. Therefore, So many calories, stomach is still empty, you again tend to feel hungry. But again, company people are smart enough to come up with this Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke things which can be taken in between. Next please. Roti or rice? Boti? Roti alone or roti with boti? What is boti? Huh? He has already answered. So, roti or rice? Just give me an answer. Just give me a minute. I am going to answer that query for you. Can we have silence, please? I will take another 10 minutes, not more than that. Okay. So, see, the predominantly it is taught to us that rice-eating people are more prone to develop diabetes, isn't it? But there is a study across the India which is known as ICMR in DIAB, Indian Council of Medical Research, which has tried to look at the prevalence of diabetes in across different states of India. Again, no Google, and I just want a guess from all of you, which is the state having highest prevalence of diabetes? While answering only he is smiling, so he has already Googled. No? You know that? So applause for him then. So it is actually Punjab followed by Haryana. And what do they consume over there? Huh? Roti. So both, the point that I want to convey to you is, both rice and roti, they have carbohydrate in them. And this carbohydrate is mainly detrimental for people having all the problems. Blood sugar, blood pressure and cholesterol. And therefore we ask the people to reduce the intake of rice and roti. Instead, fill the plate with more of curries and salads. Next please. This is not for you, but for the ones who have diabetes, these are the 4 fruits, if possible, to be avoided. Mango, custard apple, chiku and banana. Next please. So apart from that, any fruit once a day. But of course, if you want to take a watermelon one a day, that again is not allowed. So it has to be quantified as well. Next please. Vegetables all are allowed. In fact, it should be taken more in quantity by reducing the amount of rice and roti to be taken. Next please. Vegetable juice, some people are fond of. Yes, that is also allowed. But we should not add extra salt or sugar to that. Next please. आलू समस्त प्रिय ना नहीं को आइटम टा बेसी प्रिय कहले भजा ना भरता भरता एपटे भरता सेपटे भजा अच्छा हैं फ्राई भजा फ्रेंच अच्छा हाँ ठीक है French fries. Okay. So the standard notion that potato should not be taken at all, that is not valid anymore. You can take potato, but the items which are exclusively prepared from potato, jo dida apna mane kahile, bhujia bharta, should be avoided as far as possible. Next please. Oil. Mundra lagaya bane peta pai. So the amount per person per month is 500 to 600 milliliter per person per month. So if you are 4 adults in your house, it should be totally 2 to 2.5 liters per month. And what are the types of oil? Next please. So see, there are several types. One more. So on your left half is the oil which is having MUFA, mono unsaturated fatty acid oil. Mufasa na Mufa? Mufasa kiye? Lion King, very good. Okay. So the ones which are having Mufa are the olive oil, groundnut oil and rice bran oil. And on your right hand side, there are the oils having PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is there in sunflower, safflower. What about the safflower bolta hai? Sundrop safola. Science says around 60 to 70% of your intake should be from left half, Mufa. 20 to 30% should be from PUFA, that is on your right hand side. So our book says ki you take these two oils and mix them in the 70 to 30 proportion. But then practically what happens is there is an alteration in the test which is not accepted by all of you, all majority of the people. Therefore, we say ki roughly what you can do is, instead of relying on one particular type of oil, keep 2 bottles in your home, kitchen rather. One to be filled with that side and one to be filled with this side. At least 1 week this one, 1 week, another week that one. But the quantity remains 600 milliliter per person per month. Next please. Tender coconut, not for you but for diabetes. It is definitely having lot of sugar, should be avoided. Next please. Slide show. Non-veg. Sombar dina kotha heba na nahi? Kotha ta hoy pariya na kon achi. So, non-veg is important. See, proteins are very, very important for everyone, for diabetics, non-diabetics, because they are the ones which give strength to the muscles. So, for a diabetic, fish or egg twice to thrice a week, chicken once in 7 to 10 days, mutton better to be avoided, or if not, once in a month. But if somebody has heart and kidney ailment, probably once in 7 to 10 days. Next, please. What is this? Evolution. So 2.5 million years लगेला हमको जो आदिम मानव जो होमो सैपियंस बोली कहा जाए नहीं कि and then in a span of 50 years we sit idle in front of TV and there is a tummy bulge. Next please. Who is this man? Anyone wants to differ? Peturam. So that is local nomenclature then. Okay, so is he different from Gautam Buddha? Is it? Sure? So who are they actually praying? Gautam Buddha or Laughing Buddha? It is the same. It is the same actually. There is no one called Laughing Buddha. Because of his look and appearance, he is funnily named as the Laughing Buddha. But upon mane dekhandu, again coming back to English. During childhood, whenever we see the picture of gods and goddesses, all are slim, trim, handsome or beautiful. हाँ कि नुहे? अब गौतम बुद्ध आपण जानते हो जे विष्णु कर 10 अवतार रे भी गोटे अछि. So again, we also perceive him as someone who is slim, trim and handsome. But then why this man is so bulky? 2 reasons. First of all, look at his stance. He is not standing, he is sitting. बसी बसी मोटा हिची प्रथमे. द्वितीय कथा होची एमान को किए बेसी पूजा करंदी? Chinese and Japanese. So सेमान को खाद्य खाइले भगवान भी मोटा हिजिबे. So you are not spared from the tentacles of obesity if you consume more of Chinese items. On a funny note, next please. एबे जो सारंग से हमरे कथा होतलु. Wherever you go, there are no takers for the stairs, but there is a long queue for the escalators. Next please. Fitness center भितरु जिया पई ओजन कम हबो किंतु भितरु जिया पई मध्य escalator लाग जण लोकटा जे शीघ्र पहुंचियो त ता पाखरे. Next please. Escalator. मु कोन accelerator कहली की ना मते लागला कले जाओ. No, again, wherever we go to forum having ladies, most of them are fond of these heroines. Shraddha Kapoor asi gote chata pi duthwo green tea ro will कहथो. तो समस्ते कोन मु भी green tea टा पी पतला हे जिबी की. So the again answer, there is a funny answer in the internet. If you want to lose weight by consuming green tea, you have to climb the mountain, you have to pluck those specific leaves, dry it, powder it and then consume it as a coffee or a tea. So answer is bina kostare krishna. So there is no simple answer. आपण देखिबे जदि आपण मन थियो ने जानि सार जानथिबे मझिरे गोटे मशीन आस्तुले आपण सोइथिबे गोडटा ता ऊपर रखिले से गोडटा हले पतला कर दो बोली कहंदी. Yes, there were. And आ गोटे बेल्ट गोटे थिला बेल्ट पेट उठा पिटी पेट कमे दो बोली. So without your effort you are not going to lose your calories and you are not going to lose weight. Simple answer. Next please. So coming to actual science or actual lifestyle that we are going to talk about, 3 basic types of exercise are there: aerobic, anaerobic and another one is flexion exercises. Aerobic is the one where your muscle requires more of oxygen, and these are the exercises where your body changes its position, like walking, swimming, running, jumping. And anaerobic are the ones where your body is not changing the position, rather it is trying to strengthen itself. ମାନେ ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଯେଉଁ ତଳେ ଉଠକ ବଠକ କଲେ କିମ୍ବା ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଡମ୍ବେଲଟା ଧରି ଉଠେଇଲେ, ହଁ, core exercises, yes. So the answer lies in the fact that everyone should be doing at least 30 minutes aerobic exercise a day. जोटा cardio बोली कहते fashion रे, aerobic exercise a day. Simple walk, that would also be sufficient. At least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And thankfully आममानंको गुहारी भी भगवान सुनले. मु भी बहुत लेट रे उठे, घरे गाली भी सुने. आगुर जो कथा थिला जे को टाइम रे एक्सरसाइज करिवा, morning walk. So thankfully God has listened to our prayer. The prefix morning has been taken out. Walk is important. That means you can walk at any point of the time, and it need not be 30 minutes at one stretch. It can be broken into several fractions, like 10 minutes 3 times, any time of the day. That would also be good. But there is a term called brisk walk, nahi ki? Mane tika speed re chale padiyo. But then what is the definition of speed? Speed is definitely, it is a variable term, which would be lesser for me, it would be higher for you. So the answer is, it should be at a pace at which when you walk, at the end of such walk, if somebody asks you your name, you should not be able to tell your name. And you should be palpitating. Heart rate pura jor re badi jaithibo. छाती धड़ धड़ होतो, दुर्बल लागतो, के नाटा पचाले, you should not be able to tell your name. And anaerobic exercise, the strengthening exercise, you can all Google it out. The upper limb strengthening exercise, lower limb strengthening exercise, and trunk strengthening exercise. It is stated that 10 minutes a day, 3 such times in a week. Like in a week, one day you do the upper limb, one day you do the trunk, and another day you can do the lower limb. Yoga is good for, it is very good, but then the duration is not specified. It is definitely a good inclusion, which is a sort of flexion exercise. It improves your capacity to respond to stress. Next please. 6 packs darkar ki minute re. So there are ways, but then these are not sustainable. Next please. So it has to be always a consistent effort throughout the year. But after having said that, if you have stopped it for some reason and again you are restarting, you are not wrong. Some work is definitely better than no work. Try to be regular as possible, but try not to stop it. Next please. This is what? 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Next please. This person, so he said, I have been spending hours together on treadmill, but I am not losing weight. But emiti soile kona treadmill ta ojan kome debogi. So you have to work on it. Next please. Next slide please. Yes. Again, one more joke ki Santa and families of Santa and Banta were coming down, and on a metro station, they were on the escalator, and all of a sudden the electricity went off, and they had to stand for 48 hours for the electricity to be restored, and they didn't even walk down the escalator. Next please. Again, this is very practical point for everyone, including us. Whoever sits for a prolonged period of time, after every 30 minutes, please try to have a brief exercise or a brief activity. A number of activities are listed over here for 2 to 3 minutes for you not to develop diabetes, or for the ones who have diabetes for better sugar control. Next please. Most of the times if someone is affected with diabetes, sir moro kichi dosa nathila, ghare to samastanga diabetes achi, moto to hebara hi thila. So again the funny answer is diabetes runs in your family because no one runs in your family. You must have come across this statement number of times. Next please. Monitoring is important, not only blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, and also to pick up any involvement of organ at an earlier stage by some screening modalities. Next please. Last slide it is myths and facts. Next please. Should rice be totally stopped? Kya convinced na di? Should rice be totally stopped? No. Should biryani be totally stopped? No. Bigger no. So again, the second question, some time back I was there in Doordarshan and one of the question was from audience ki sir pitta khadya. Bitter foods like neem, bitter gourd, fenugreek, methi would lower the blood sugar. So let's have a poll. How many of us believe that by intake of these things we would be able to lower our sugar? Very few believe. And how many of you do not believe that it reduces the blood sugar? बहुत है तो उठी नहीं. Answer both of the above or none of the above? Again? None of the above. आओ गोटे वाला both of the above. Both of the above पे क्या जोन हाथ उठा जा? So he is right actually. Actual answer is both of the above. The reason is taste of a particular food can be appreciated as long as it is on your tongue. Only tongue is the organ which has got taste receptors or taste buds. Once the food crosses your tongue and goes into the stomach or blood, there the organs do not appreciate whether it is sweet or sour. There what happens, once the food goes into your stomach, the sweet foods will increase your blood sugar. The sour things will not do any harm to you, but it will be excreted through feces. So once it goes into your stomach or blood, the bitterness or sourness would not be neutralizing the sweetness. लोके कौन करते मुझे थोड़ा हैदराबाद पाठ पढ़ते हैं तो 80 भी start है लानी. I was a student from 10 to 13 and at that point जो जब तक स्टेडियम गुड़ा था है बाहर जने लोग फ्रूट जूस भी कुछ ता पाखरे जने गोटे से कलरा जूस टे भी कुछ लोग एथरू दी ग्लास पियंती सेथरू दी ग्लास पियंती so they think that they have neutralized everything and they go back to home. So that is not the case, but there are cues as to how it reduces blood sugar. See, we have a definite space in the stomach. If you fill the stomach with bitter foods, the space left for intake of sweet foods will automatically go down. So your intake comes down, and obviously one is not very fond to take bitter foods. So one who is taking actually the bitter foods, he is definitely having lot of abstinence power, and he would be definitely reducing the intake of sweet foods. So the credit goes to his abstinence power, not this bitter food. So yes, 3 to 4% blood sugar, there is a reduction, but then people think that by taking this, they can stop taking the tablets. That is not good. And next please. Insulin, I am not going to answer this, but then you all must have heard of this insulin which comes in injectable form. Generally what happens is whenever on a long run, after 5 to 6 years of diabetes, when you go on using tablets, the tablets enter into your body, extract the insulin from your pancreas and ask that insulin to reduce the sugar. So once you go on extracting the insulin, your body insulin level comes down and you do not respond to tablets. That is a phase when you need to take insulin. And it is one of the most potent anti-diabetic. You can call it as Brahmastra. It can reduce any amount of sugar you have. It can protect your heart, kidney, blood vessel, eyes and nerves. Just that it comes in injectable form. But nowadays there are pens. Pen which is having a very minute needle, thin needle which will not be pricking you much. Next please. So lastly, this is one of the messages from one of our patient only. When I was studying, you respect your diabetes, diabetes will respect you. You neglect your diabetes, diabetes will neglect you. Next. So actually we have got a YouTube channel where we have tried to address common endocrine problems like diabetes. Next please. Thyroid. Next, obesity. And apart from that, some hormonal issues like short stature, growth hormone deficiency, all those things have been addressed. And this was the recent one where I was on NDTV and we were discussing on some of the common facts about diabetes. That's what. Next please. So this was when the COVID-19 was at its peak. You know that people having diabetes and hypertension were more prone to develop COVID and the COVID related complications. So this one of Facebook Live with the district administration. Next please. Next. So after that lengthy session, I am not, at least from this end, I am not seeing anyone suffering from the condition stated in the slide? Anyone? So big thanks to all of you and thanks to Trilochan sir. So, any questions that you have? Yes. Can we have silence, please? We are trying to answer your friends. If you have any queries, please, you can also raise your question.
So as you told earlier, many teenagers suffer from diabetes. So what is the main reason why they suffer?
There are two common reasons that I would like to address. First of all, please be seated. There is growing prevalence of obesity even in teenagers, especially in cities. And because of rapid urbanization of all the places across India, the availability of energy dense foods has become very easy. It is coming at a far lesser price. You go to the market, purchase a fruit, it would be far costlier than a packeted food, which is tastier but contains all those things which we do not want. So urbanization, obesity and easy availability of food. Secondly, let me come to our science, that is gene, not gene pant. Gene, the genes. So these are polygenetic disorders. Multiple genes get affected to have someone with diabetes, and there is a term in the genetics called anticipation, which means if your parents are having diabetes, hypertension or cholesterol, supposedly at the age of 50, the next generation will be affected by those conditions at least 5 to 10 years earlier because of gradual accumulation of genetic damages, and that is compounded by lifestyle factor because of the easy availability of food, the environmental pollution, all those things come into the picture. So genes and our own lifestyle. These are the two reasons why the teenagers are also getting affected. And the youngest child that I have seen with diabetes is a newborn of 21 days old. But thankfully that is not very common. I have only come across probably 2 to 3 cases in my last 12 years of career. But then we have to be aware and as far as possible stick to these lifestyle changes, even if you do not have diabetes, so that the chances of developing definitely comes down. Anyone else?
So
Yes.
another question, please. So is sugar-free tablets come? Is it good for health or not?
The one who was promoting sugar-free, I remember, Bipasa Basu. I don't know how many of you remember her. So, if you are a fan of her, you can go on consuming. But if you are a fan of your own health, there is again a upper limit of what you can take. As I've already told you, 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 tablets per day. If supposedly someone is taking 3 cups of tea a day, each cup 1 tablet can be added. Loko kon karanti khiri achi sugar free pura packet ta khali kar diyanti. So that is not allowed. So opt in moderation in tablets 2 to 3 or max 4 tablets a day. Yes, someone was there from in the back. Yes. Time.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Kumar. I am from electrical branch. So my question is, are diabetes and body pain are related to each other?
Per se, body pain is not a symptom of diabetes, but generally what happens is if you have prolonged period of uncontrolled blood sugar, weakness can manifest in several forms. So body pain by default is not a symptom, but if you have prolonged body pain which is not getting treated by common medicines, then probably diabetes and thyroid can also be checked once.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, does glucose hampers our thinking, like critical, logical thinking in our brain? Glucose or any kind of sugar?
Did he commit any blunder now?
Yes, sir.
I'm just asking on a funny note. Did he commit any blunder now after eating food? No. I'm just asking a funny note. Yes, very importantly, please be seated. Actually, very important, there is an organ in the brain called hypothalamus, which is responsible for many functions in the body, including eating behavior, including your thought process. And whenever there is excess blood sugar, this hypothalamus gets affected, and it is stated that the memory loss, which generally occurs at an elderly stage, that can predate if you have prolonged high blood sugars. Yes, it does, but not on a very acute manner.
Sir, I heard that diabetes is not reversible. Why it is?
No, you heard diabetes is reversible or not reversible?
Not reversible.
Acha, please be seated. So, see, nowadays, especially in cities, there are multiple programs going on which are focusing on reversal of diabetes. Upon netre marantu probably lakhs of videos you will come across. So, reversal of diabetes means you will not be required to take any tablets, but that reversal will be there as long as you are adhering to diet and lifestyle. And coming to your part of question, whether it is reversible or not, if it is of short duration, if the values are minimally elevated, you can definitely revert that with diet and lifestyle. That is why we ask you to go for testing after 40, because if you have elevated blood sugars, there are scientific studies even from India which tell us that by simply sticking to diet and lifestyle restriction, you can stay away from diabetes for decades. And on the other hand, if the diabetes is a long one where the sugars are high, mostly it is not reversible, because the beta cells which produce the insulin from the pancreas, they gradually decline over a period of time. That cannot be reversed. The pancreatic functional decline is on a spree which cannot be halted, but then diet and lifestyle can retard this decline to a great extent. Okay. What I will do is I will pass on this PPT to your friend. If you want, you can take it from him actually. Friend or senior, whoever it is.
I would like to make an important announcement. Those who have given blood and haven't got their certificate yet, the certificate will be distributed tomorrow, and that's all I need to say.
On behalf of PMC, we extend hearty vote of thanks to Dr. Sunil Kumar Kota sir, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion and address the crowd.
Now I would like to request Dr. Trilochan Raut sir to come up on the stage and present Dr. Sunil Kumar Kota sir with a memento. Maintain silence.